Hey, what is up, guys? Joseph here, and today me and Noah are going to be talking about movies that we find to be overrated. Noah, why don't you go ahead and kick it off?
Hold on, let me get a. Ooh, I got a text message. Yeah, sure, okay. So, one movie I don't really like that I don't know, like everyone seems to like. I think, including you, Joseph, is Inception. I found it so boring.
You don't like Inception?
No, I fell asleep
Ugh.
twice trying to watch it.
And why don't you like it? What do you not like about it?
It was just boring.
God, man,
Just
I love
sometimes things
Inception.
don't grab me.
Uh, did you not like anything about it, or was
Mm,
it completely like
I'm
bad for you,
just
or whatever?
I'm just really simple about it. It didn't entertain me. I don't think it was necessarily bad, quote unquote, but it just didn't entertain me personally.
Hmm. Jesus. Okay, what you got next, man?
My second movie is Frozen. I thought it was pretty awful too.
Now, just so you know, a movie doesn't have to be awful to be overrated. Like there are some online that are good movies, but they don't deserve the amount of love they get.
Oh, I completely know what you're saying. I'm not saying these are bad. I'm just saying they're
All
awful to me.
right, man.
If,
What was it?
if,
Frozen?
if a piece of entertainment does not
Hey, no,
entertain
no,
me,
no,
then
no.
it
Hang on,
fails
hang on,
at
hang.
its
No,
job.
no, 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 no. You're
But
the audio is starting to get terrible now.
probably because of stupid weather. Can you hear me? Hello?
A little bit better.
How about now?
Yeah, that's better. Okay.
What I was saying is, bad movies, like they're well made and everything. I understand that, but if a piece of entertainment does not entertain me, then it failed at its job, and I see it as awful, personally. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
So I'm not saying these movies are like. I meant they're professionally made and they're good on their own rights. I don't know. I'm just saying they didn't entertain me, or I pretty much list some movies that made me fall asleep while watching it. If your movie's not supposed to make your audience fall asleep.
Well,
For my third movie,
there are some movies to that I watched one time and fell asleep and thought it was boring and just bad, but I rewatched it again and I loved it. It just depends on how like you
well,
maybe just be tired.
think about.
there was
I
one movie
understand.
that I saw that I fell asleep and I can't remember for the life of I can't remember. But yeah, there are some movies that it's possible that you were probably just tired, but whatever. So your second one was Frozen, you said?
Yeah,
Okay, I get that one.
third one is The Hunger Games. That's pretty stupid.
I didn't I didn't even think about the Hunger Games.
Would that be on your list?
Yeah, I did not even think about the Hunger Games.
I mean, it was a decent
God,
movie. It was a decent movie, but people way,
the entire
uh,
franchise.
yeah. For my fourth movie, I think you're gonna dislike. You ready?
Yeah.
The Avengers. Now I like the Avengers, but I think people make it out to be the best superhero movie, and I personally don't think it is. And
Uh, okay.
for my for my last and final movie on this list, the one that's so boring. The whole Paranormal Activity franchise. But I had number one in mind. I swear to you, every Paranormal Activity I've seen, and I think I've seen all of them, I have fallen asleep. I was not
Oh
tired,
my
Joseph. I was
god.
not tired. The movie bored me. The only Paranormal Activity I did not fall asleep on was the Mark ones.
That was the worst one too. That was the worst
Oh,
one.
I thought. At least that one I thought was mildly entertaining because I thought it was better than the other ones because there's interesting stuff happening throughout the whole movie instead of there's little sprinkles in between very long boring parts that I did not want to see, and they saved like all the big stuff until the end. At least in the Mark ones, there was big stuff happening throughout the movie, so that one did not make me fall asleep.
I mean, I like
But
the
I think
I like the first three, and after that, it just got bad.
I don't think any of them are good.
I mean, they're not really great, but I mean, they're those kind of
The
movies that if I find on like TV somewhere, I'll like tune in for it, but I'm not gonna like pay to see them.
I will commend the first one. I mean, it is kind of a cool idea, but I mean, it's been done before. But at the time, I didn't know of any movies before Paranormal Activity. So like around what was it like 2007? People are like hyping this movie as like scariest movie ever. And I was like maybe 8 or 9, and I was so excited to see it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this movie's gonna be amazing. Fell asleep. If a horror movie makes a kid fall asleep, then it's not a good movie, or at least a good horror movie. Anyway, that's my whole rant on these movies. What do you have to say about, or what's your opinion on my short list?
The first one you said was Inception. Uh,
Hmm.
how many times have you seen it? Like how many times? Like yeah, how many times have you
I
seen
try
it?
to, I try to watch it twice. I will admit, the first time I watched it, it was late at night. But when I try to watch it again, it still bored me. Anyway, it's up for
I mean,
discussion. My opinion's not written in stone.
I mean, I don't get it, but I mean, if
Which
you
this
didn't
is
if
a
you didn't
guy who
like it, you didn't
likes
like it.
grown ups and Sky High and Air Bud, so I think he'll like anything.
No, trust me, you'll find out some movies that I absolutely hate today.
All
Um,
right,
but
let's
I
see.
mean, the second one you said, Frozen,
Yes,
that is one of mine. I mean, I don't hate it as much as some other people do, but to the extent of
I think a lot of
everybody,
people who do hate on it haven't even seen it.
yeah.
I've seen this movie 5 times, people, 5 times to the fullest.
I mean, it's
Still like,
fine. It's okay.
and I get why. I mean, it's made for kids. It's not made for you and me. It's made
Yeah.
for kids.
And I mean, it's better than some of the old Disney movies like Chicken Little and Meet the Robinsons and
Hey, I
the
like chicken. Oh, I thought you said Chicken Run. I was like, hey, I like Chicken
the
Run.
I haven't seen Chicken Run in years, man.
Chicken Run's amazing. I love Chicken Run.
I remember liking it, but I haven't seen it in a long time to like
I like
comment on it.
all.
There was one more that I absolutely hated, like in the early 2000s in that Disney run. It was like Chicken Little, Meet the Robinsons, and there was another.
Yeah,
I can't.
Bolt.
No, not Bolt. I'll look it up while I'm talking. But there was another movie that came out around that time, and I absolutely hated it. But I mean, like I said, Frozen's not their best, but it's certainly not their worst. Um,
Yeah.
and the Avengers, I do agree that it's not
I and to
as
clarify, my favorite superhero movies that I think are the best is the first Iron Man,
yeah.
The Dark Knight, and there's one other one. You know, the original Supermans with Christopher Reeve. I think those are fantastic superhero movies. But like people always make out Avengers to be the best because it has all these superheroes in one. Just because you have more doesn't mean it's like the best. I found it to be the messiest. I like to see the
Mm,
background story of the superheroes or they're coming up to be a superhero or etc. But I I think they were doing the quantity quality aspect of the Avengers.
I mean, it does have like its problems, but I mean, it's probably like
And
my.
and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Avengers is a bad movie. Like you
I get what
said,
you're saying.
it's
Like it,
overrated.
I mean, it definitely has its flaws,
Cause
but
like there's like pointless superheroes and they're like Black Widow and Hawkeye. Like who the needs those people? Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear. Who needs those people? Like they're pointless. You got the Hulk, you got Thor. Those are pretty much the only two people you need. Iron Man, yeah, sure, he's cool. He's got the intelligence factor. Captain America, sure, throw him in there, but Black Widow and Hawkeye are completely useless. But yeah, that's my little rant on the Avengers. And I don't know. I think it was too comedy oriented. I don't mind like tongue in cheek, but it felt more. And I don't have a problem with comedy movies either, but it felt too much like a comedy, in my opinion. I don't know. I guess I like more dark, gritty stories.
the other Disney movie that I was talking about in the early 2000s, Home on the Range,
I've never heard of that.
it wasn't good. But I mean it. um, I mean, I get what you're saying with I will say that it does have its flaws, but I think it's probably like my most enjoyable, entertaining superhero movies, I guess. But yeah, I get what you're saying about it being overrated in the sense of people saying it's the best superhero movie ever made.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but the Paranormal Activities, I already said I
Is
liked the
that
first three, but after that it did get uh,
they were milk?
pretty pretty bad. And what was the fifth one?
That was it. That was it.
I thought you had another. Inception,
Let's see.
Frozen,
I had Inception, Frozen, The Hunger Games,
Hunger
The
Games.
Avengers. Yeah.
The Hunger Games. I completely forgot. Oh God. Yeah. I don't like it's the whole franchise of the Hunger Games. It's okay. Um, I mean, I know some people that read the books and watched the movie saying the books are better. Um, Probably not going to read the books anytime soon, but whatever. I know. Well, I know we read the first book in high school. But that was it. But whatever. Um, but Hunger Games and Frozen are the only two ones that you've talked about that we have in common about being overrated. Um,
I'm Frozen.
yeah, Frozen, Hunger Games and Frozen. But I mean, go ahead. Yes, go ahead and get into mine. You want to talk about boring horror movies that just so happen to be found footage. Now, before I say this one, I will say that I have this movie currently on my DVR. I'm planning to rewatch it because I've only watched it once and I fell asleep. I do remember this one being one of those movies, and that's the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, Blair Witch is
I
awful.
I can't I don't get what people love about this movie.
I think.
Like
Well, put it in context, Joseph.
maybe it was
So
like
you didn't
during.
watch it around the time when it was hyped.
Yeah,
I think
that's
people
what I was about to
do
say.
like it. were
Like it was
because when it first came up, this
it
was
was
like
marketed as a
a
documentary.
fresh take on movies, and people actually thought it was real footage. So of
Yeah,
course
and
it's gonna be like, oh gosh, this is terrifying, you know?
that's because it was marketed as a real documentary. And
Yeah,
I get
and
I
but
get that, but I mean,
but
I don't.
totally, it's a pretty bad movie. Like if today I were to watch it in theaters and pay $10, I'd be like, this was a total waste of $10.
I mean, like I said, I have it on my DVR. I'm planning on rewatching it just to make sure. But as of today, I don't get the amount of love it gets. Like I don't understand why people love it as much as they do, other than like the marketing campaign that was behind it. My second one
Yeah.
is, in this movie, I will say I haven't seen in years, so I can't really legitimately say, and I really don't have plans to watch it in the future, and that's Top Gun.
A little
What's
bit of.
so special about Top Gun? Please explain that to me. And Noah, have you seen Top Gun?
I've seen a little bit of it, but not in its entirety.
Like it was, to me, just boring. Um, like I
I think it's
didn't.
just iconic. I don't know.
Uh,
People confused.
like I really don't understand what people love about this movie. Tom Cruise, I didn't really care for in this movie. I mean, nothing in this movie I liked. It was just a boring 80s action movie. Uh, I mean, whatever. The next one, I think that this movie, people get like, they get the twist and the actual movie itself confused. The twist is great, but the movie not so much, and that's the Sixth Sense.
I like that movie.
It's okay. I mean, I the only tremendous thing about this movie that I think is the twist. The twist is,
Yeah.
without the twist, this movie would be forgettable. Um, I think the twist is the only reason this movie is remembered today. Like my personal favorite Shyamalan movie is Unbreakable. Well, maybe.
Left there.
Oh, I don't know. It's between Unbreakable and Split.
In The Last Airbender.
Dear God, no. Have you seen Split? I think you said you have.
Haven't seen it yet.
You haven't? Oh,
I know it's connected to
okay.
Unbreakable.
Well, have you seen Unbreakable?
It's been a long time. I need to rewatch it actually before I watch Split.
Yeah, I mean, Split, it could be its own movie if it wasn't for the last 10 seconds. Um, well, maybe like 30 seconds because that music score hit within the last 30 seconds, so whatever. But The Sixth Sense, I don't get the amount of love it gets. I mean, the only great performance was by Haley Joel Osment, the kid, Bruce Willis. He was fine. I mean, it wasn't anything super special, but I
Hmm.
mean, it is what it is. And this next one, I don't know if you were gonna agree with me on this one.
What is it?
Kevin Bacon, Footloose.
I don't even think I've seen that.
Yes, there are some good parts of it, but I think it's one of those movies that is just dated. It,
Yeah,
I mean,
and that might be the case for The Sixth Sense.
maybe. Uh, uh,
For a lot of
yeah.
movies, really.
I mean, there are very few movies that can like stand the
Like
test of
think about
time.
they think about like a highly rated movie back in say the 80s or 90s. If it was probably released today, it probably maybe wouldn't have gotten much love as it.
Die
I don't know.
Hard. Die Hard.
Yeah, except the sequels are kind of weak.
And I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this one. I will say, and this will, I know this sounds bad,
Hmm.
but Titanic.
Oh, I don't like Titanic.
The only part that was, God, this is gonna sound horrible, and I'm gonna be called a bad person, but like the only part that I wasn't bored was the actual sinking of the Titanic. Like the
The sex scene.
love story between Rose and Jack, I didn't really care for.
I think most people agree the most exciting part was when the ship was sinking.
And I mean, I hate to say it, it'd be one thing if it didn't happen, but because it did, it probably makes me sound like a bad person to say that.
No, people like to see, like even though it's like looked down upon and yeah, it's more morally wrong. People like to see people get hurt or killed. It's just it's part of our nature. Why else would we watch like? Why else would Saul gross millions of dollars, not billions?
I mean, speaking of Saw, Saw is an overrated movie. Now that I think about it,
Yeah, the first one I
that didn't
think
even cross my mind. The first Saw, I mean, I think the first Saw is overrated too.
I
Like,
don't know. I think it's innovative.
when's the last time you watched it
I don't know.
or rewatch it again? Because there's quite a bit of stuff that it.
I base movies on if they engage me or not. If it's engaging, then you've done your job as a director or a filmmaker. But if you bore me, like
Oh,
plenty of people tell me, recommend me to watch movies that they say is great, but it bores me.
like what?
I don't know. Like, I think of an example.
But do you know who directed the first Saw movie?
I forgot their names.
No, it's one person.
Oh, isn't it the same guy who directs in Inception? Oh, what's that movie called? Insidious?
Yep, James Wan.
Yeah.
He directed The Conjuring and Aquaman. He's doing Aquaman, The Furious Seven.
I didn't know he directed a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, he did that seventh movie with like the one that ended with Paul Walker driving off into the sunset.
Uh,
But I know he's directing that Aquaman movie, so I'm curious to see how he does there. But
yeah.
I don't forgot. Oh yeah, I mean Titanic. Like I said, I didn't really care for the romance stuff. But then again, it wasn't designed for someone like me, so whatever. And I honestly don't know if you're going to agree with me on this one, Noah. My next one is X-Men: Days of Future Past.
Yeah, sure.
And like, do you agree with it, or do you?
Uh, I think most X-Men movies are overrated. Even Wolverine. I love,
Say it
but
again. You broke up.
I said I think most X-Men movies are overrated. Like even Logan, which I love the X-Men movies, but I don't know. I guess I'm not big enough fan.
I don't know.
Fans hype it up too
But I
much.
mean, Days of Future Past. The main the main thing I loved about Days of Future Past was it reset the whole timeline where Deadpool could happen and Logan and all this other stuff could happen. That's the only tremendous thing to come out of Days of Future Past. I don't
Yeah.
like the fact that they made Mystique a good person. Um,
Hmm.
I don't like just some of the stuff they are doing, what they did with that trilogy, First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. I don't like. Like the only besides resetting the timeline, the only good thing to come out of Days of Future Past was Quicksilver. Um, that scene alone in that kitchen, fantastic. I think a lot of people confuse that scene with the whole movie. But it is what it is. Um, my next one, and I think you'll agree with me on this one. I believe you will. Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
What is so special about Mad Max? Like
It worked.
it's a fun movie, but for it to be nominated for Best Picture, really? Why?
Maybe it's because like people who were a fan of Mad Max, they haven't had like a movie in a long time, so I think they're just really happy when a Mad Max did come out.
Like I don't. like
Yeah, it's a good movie, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I don't. Like what's the story?
They're
Charlize
trying to
Theron
go.
makes a wrong turn, and a chase
I mean,
ensues.
kind of. I mean, the water is like the most valuable thing in that universe, and the guy, I forgot his name, he holds all the water. I guess that's like a side story. There's more to it, but like I forgot what Max was trying to do. It's been about maybe a year or two since I've seen it.
I mean, it's a fun action movie, but it just for it to be nominated for Best Picture. I mean, I get like the nomination for like best visual effects and all that kind of stuff, but for Best Picture, I, I don't get it. But I mean, whatever. But my next one is a movie that I don't know if the majority of people are going to agree with me. Um, because I know a lot of people grew up with this movie from the 80s and that nostalgia factor may blind them, but The Goonies does not hold up. It
Yeah.
is boring. It just wasn't that great of a movie. I mean,
What number are you on?
this will be number 11. But I mean,
Going down the ascending order?
yeah.
Oh.
Um, but I mean, I don't get the amount of love Goonies gets. I mean, it's an okay movie, I guess. I've seen worse, but it's nothing too amazing. Um, my next one is Napoleon Dynamite.
Dude, that movie's a legend. How dare you?
Like it's fine, but I don't get the amount of love it does. Like it's okay. I'm not saying it's like a bad movie or anything. I mean, it
I think
just,
it's one of my,
huh?
I think it's one of my favorites.
Of all time?
Possibly. I mean, it's what I don't know. It's like one of those movies I could rewatch a lot and still enjoy it.
I
Still
mean,
find it funny.
it just doesn't. Uh, it just doesn't grab me that like that. I mean, it's one of those movies where if I see it on TV, I may watch it, but I mean,
Mm.
it's nothing as special as other people make it out to be, in my opinion. Um,
I think it's unique.
huh?
But yeah, I think that's unique. But let's get on to the next one because we're already almost 35 minutes in. We got 10 more
No, we got 9.
or 9.
And I'm gonna go with this one. My, well, I'm not. This isn't really a ranking kind of thing. It's just like a list. Um,
Yeah.
the next one I'm gonna talk about is Fargo. Now
Oh,
this movie, it's
maybe.
fine. I don't think it's as great of a movie as everybody else makes it out to be.
Yeah.
Uh,
Have you seen the TV show?
no, I haven't. I've
It's
only
great.
I've only seen the movie.
The TV show's great. It's a mini series, like only 10 episodes. You should check it out.
In one season.
Yeah.
How
I
many? Like, I
think
know it's got more than one season.
no.
I think it does
It's
because
a mini.
I've seen it like for several years of new episodes
Hold
coming
on.
on. I think.
Let me check. Because I just remember it being a mini series. But yeah, go ahead and talk about it while I
But I mean,
look it up.
it just, I mean, it's fine. It's not my favorite Coen Brothers movie. Obviously, if you've seen that top 100 movies of all time, the series I did. Um,
Oh wow,
but
you're right. It still is going on.
yeah, I
Well,
thought it was.
I've only seen the first season.
I haven't. I knew it was
Another one.
I knew it was made into a TV show too, but I just haven't watched it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, like I said, but it just does. I don't like it as much as everybody else does. Next movie that I want to talk about, and I'm pretty sure Noah will agree with me on this one. 2009's the highest grossing movie of all time,
Friday the 13th?
Avatar.
Oh, Avatar. I don't know why I thought Friday the 13th. I mean, 3D looks pretty cool on it, but that's all I gotta say about it.
I don't get the amount of love this movie gets, more than probably any of my others. Like, it's just an average movie that only got to be the highest grossing movie of all time pretty much because of 3D sales.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Uh, I mean, what is so special about Avatar? And now they're doing a 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Wait, what?
You really haven't heard about this?
No.
James Cameron is already in. He's in like he's writing 2, 3, 4, and 5 all at the same time.
Wow.
What's the point? Like what?
Make money?
It's a boring, average fantasy, adventure, sci-fi kind of movie. It
Right.
goes on a lot longer than it should. I really can't understand what people love so much about this movie. Oh my god. Okay, what do you think about Avatar, Noah?
What he said.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And Noah, I'm surprised that you didn't mention another horror movie that it was in your list,
Yeah.
because I know we watched this movie around the same time. I think you may have watched it before I did. And we both agree that it wasn't as good as we both were expecting, and it was just boring, a boring horror movie.
Is it I don't know.
It Follows.
What is it? It follows. Oh yeah. That was not very good.
However
Like
long that movie was.
at first that first scene when the girl's running away and then she like ends up on the beach and like she's all like all of her bones are broken. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a cool movie. But I mean, after that, it's like it started going downhill, and then it just started getting more like stupider or more stupid. And by the end of it, I was like, well, that was disappointing. It was a disappointment for
Yeah,
sure.
I think disappointment is a bit of an understatement. There was nothing really tremendous about this movie. The acting I thought was average. None of the, I mean,
Yeah,
maybe I was just expecting a lot more and should have gone in there with like low expectations. But
the
with
music
every,
was pretty cool.
I honestly can't remember anything about this movie. Okay, moving on to my next horror movie that I found to be overrated, The
Bring it
Babadook.
on. Hey, I like the Babadook.
I don't get it. I mean, I I did okay. This was how my feelings went from beginning to end. Started out the movie with hating the kid, finding him to be an annoying kid that I was waiting
Yes.
for the Babadook to kill him. And then the kid turned out to be a lot better than what he was in the beginning. He started to come around for me. And then around around that time, I really started to like it. And then the ending happened. And spoilers if you haven't seen the Babadook, they keep the
We're gonna
Babadook as a pet.
wait.
What?
Okay, okay. People listening, spoilers. We're gonna give you 5 minutes to leave the video of
No,
pure
not 5
silence.
minutes. It doesn't take 3 seconds to mute.
Oh
But they keep the
right.
Babadook as a pet.
Oh yeah.
Why would you keep something that dangerous that tried to kill you and then like the next day or soon after whenever tame it and try to keep it as a pet?
Well, if Jason came to your house, wouldn't you keep him as a pet?
No. That would be like you
Oh,
said, Jason. That would be like Jason trying to kill you, and the next day somehow you survive. The next day, you and Jason go out for a beer.
that'd be pretty cool.
That's essentially the same stupid ending. I don't like. I don't get why they would keep the Babadook as a pet. Really, why? If no, Noah, you like, do you know why, Noah? Do you get it? Because
Not
if
really.
okay, if you guys are listening and you understand why they would keep it as a pet, and I can't wrap my head around it, whatever. If you guys understand it, comment down below and let me know because I'm confused at why they would keep something that 24 hours earlier try to kill them. Like I just don't understand why they would do that crap.
Next.
My rant's over. And my next one that I want to talk about is going for
Next.
an animated movie, Wally.
Ollie's pretty dope.
The first 40 minutes when it's just Wally on screen doing what he does best, like just doing what he does, I liked it.
Uh-huh.
But once they went to
You
that, what was it, a spaceship or planet or whatever it was with that people,
uh-huh.
I didn't like. That's where it lost me. Like
It's under
I liked it when Eve came and they got together and started doing whatever they were doing. But once they started going to that planet, was it a planet or a spaceship or what was it? I can't remember.
I think it was a planet.
Okay, wherever that place was, that's where it lost me. And it just lost all momentum. I didn't care at all for it after that. Uh, you like Wally?
I mean it's a I mean, I don't love it, but it's a good movie, sure.
Um, and going from Wall-E to another Pixar movie, and that's Up.
Opal's pretty good.
The first 5 minutes, great. That could be an Oscar-winning short film. But after that,
Hey,
it
you said no
just,
short films. You
huh?
said no short films.
What are you talking about?
I'm I'm joking. You said when I made my list, I couldn't add short films.
No, that's not what I said. You dumb.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I
Yes, you
said
did.
that, but I didn't say
I'm
that
about
Up
to
was a short
expose
film.
you for a
Oh my,
sixth time on my
oh my
channel.
God! I did not say that or Up was a short film. I said that the first 10 minutes could work as a great
I
Oscar-winning short.
and again, you said the first 5 minutes.
Yes.
You
Jeez.
just said 10. You're a
Either way,
liar.
5-10 minutes. I
You're
don't
a
remember the
fraud.
exact time limit. I don't have
You're
the.
a fake.
Oh my God.
You're so.
Anyways, shut up.
I'm about to expose you.
Shut your mouth.
This boy don't
Shut
like
up.
up, but he
Shut up.
likes grown ups.
I said that Grown Ups is not a good movie. I told you that, man. But I
Well,
just
I was
don't.
in your list then.
It's not a good movie, but I just like it's a guilty movie pleasure. I just like I. Oh my God.
Guys, every Saturday morning, Joseph watches Airbud, and then later on that night he watches
Dude, I
Grown
gotta say, you
Ups.
ruined Air Bud for me, man. I watched Air
Why?
Bud. I watched Air Bud last week when we talked about it, and you just ruined it, man. It's not as good as I remember. I freaking hate you, man. You ruined my childhood.
Well, if you go back to most childhood stuff, it sucks.
God, not all
Because
of them.
when you're a kid, you're dumb, so you'll like anything.
Oh my God, man, you just ruined my childhood.
What's the
God,
next one?
and these next three, if you guys watched my top 100 movies of all time, you know that I like these three
Grown
movies,
Ups.
but no, but they're not as good as what people make them out to be, in my opinion.
And
The
that
first,
is.
the first movie that I'm going to talk about of those three are the first one is Toy Story 3.
Yep.
Like I said in that top 100 movies, I don't remember what number it was or whatever, but the only two tremendous things about Toy Story 3 was the furnace scene and the ending scene where Andy gives the toys to Bonnie. Um, those are really the only two fantastic parts about Toy Story 3. The rest of it, it's fine. It just not. I think a lot of people confuse those two scenes with the whole movie. Um, and speaking of people confusing something with a whole movie, The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger is the only fantastic thing in this movie. Aaron
I don't say
Eckhart,
that.
Aaron Eckhart was fine. Um, Maggie Gyllenhaal was not great. I prefer Katie Holmes over Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, Gary Oldman, all those four that were in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises, they were better in those two movies than they were in The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger is the only thing that comes close to perfection in this movie. I think a lot of people confuse Heath Ledger with The Dark Knight, and my next and last overrated movie that was on my top 100 movies is
Last.
Pulp Fiction. I Pulp Fiction to me is Quentin Tarantino's most overrated movie. It's, I mean, it's okay, it's fine, it's good, but it's not fantastic as many people think. In my opinion, the only thing that
You
I
think?
the only thing that I love is Sam Jackson. John Travolta and Uma Thurman segment I can deal with. The Bruce Willis part I couldn't care less. But the Sam Jackson John Travolta segment at the third third act was the only thing that I felt remotely close to loving. I mean, that's my list. What do you think of those three, Noah? Toy Story 3, Dark Knight, and Pulp Fiction.
I think you suck. I think you're stupid. I think you should stop reviewing movies
Well, fine then. God, my
because
throat is dry.
cause, because uh you don't like Toy Story 3, Dark Knight, or Pulp
No, no, no,
Fiction.
no. I know where you're going with this. I
Rather,
know where you're going with
rather,
this. No, no, no,
you'd
no.
rather
I
you'd
like,
rather
I
watch
like, I like, I like The Dark
you'd,
Knight. I
ra-
like
you,
Toy Story 3. I
you,
like Pulp Fiction, but I just don't
you'd
love them.
rather
Shut up, no. I
watch
know where you're
Grown
going with
Ups,
this. You're
Air
making me
Bud,
sound like a
and
stupid person.
Sky
No,
High.
Noah, I swear you're making me sound like a stupid person. No, I don't. You're misunderstanding me, and I don't want anyone listening to misunderstand me. I am not saying Grown Ups is a good movie.
I
I am
would
saying
rather
that.
watch the Emoji Movie.
No, I would not. Noah, you're putting words in my mouth, and I don't appreciate it. I like The Dark Knight, I like Pulp Fiction, and I like Toy Story
If
3.
you go
But I just
back
don't
and
think
watch
it's as good as people think it is. Okay.
if you go back and watch Joseph's last 10 movies of all time, on his top 3 spots is Air Bud.
No,
Grown
it is
Ups,
not, man.
the most. Yes,
You
it
do
is.
watch
Your
my
number
videos,
one
don't you?
movie
You freaking
of
liar.
all
The Emoji
time.
Movie didn't even come out by that time.
See, but okay. You didn't say the Emoji Movie. You said the Emoji Movie trailer
Oh
was
my
your
god.
favorite movie of all time. It's
All right, guys.
important.
So that's some of our overrated movies that we have. Let me know. Let us know some of yours in the comments below. Let me try that again.
Why are you ending this so fast?
Because it's already going on an hour-long video.
So,
So I ain't gonna keep all this crap in. I've already got another one to edit. All right, guys. So that's gonna be all of our overrated movies that we're gonna talk about today. Let us know
ain't
some
no.
of yours in the comments below. Noah, shut up. uh, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. It really helps me out. And as always, like me on Facebook at
If you like the
JMash97. Follow me on
video,
Twitter,
dislike
JMash97. Links
it.
in the description below. Go subscribe to Noah's channel. I'll leave the link in the description below. Noah, you shut up now. As
If you like my
always,
uh,
what?
I said if you don't sub to my channel.
What? What you gonna do if they
It,
don't?
okay, guys, don't sub to my channel. I repeat, don't sub. See, it's the reverse psychology. Now they'll sub to my channel. Pretty smart tactic.
As always, mash out.